Welcome back to Book Summaries channel. If you've ever felt trapped by your own thoughts or overwhelmed by anxiety about the future, today's book is going to change your life. Today, we are exploring The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle, a spiritual masterpiece that teaches us how to detach from the mind and access a state of deep inner peace. Tolle begins by identifying the greatest obstacle to enlightenment: our identification with the mind. He explains that most people are possessed by their thoughts, creating a constant stream of mental noise that prevents us from finding true inner stillness. The mind is a tool, but for most of us, the tool has taken over and became the master. Tolle suggests that we are not the thinker, but the observing presence behind the thoughts. When we begin to watch the thinker, we activate a higher level of consciousness. This detachment allows us to realize that our true essence is beyond the reach of mental concepts. The author describes the pain body, which is an accumulation of old emotional pain that lives within us. By witnessing our thoughts without judgment, we start to break the power of the mind. This simple act of observation creates a gap in the mental stream. In that gap, we find the first glimpse of pure consciousness. We finally realize that we are much greater than our intellect. This chapter focuses on the origin of emotional suffering and how consciousness can dissolve it. Tolle explains that all pain is essentially a form of resistance to what is happening in the present moment. The mind creates pain because it wants to control reality or escape the now. We often live in a state of psychological time, obsessing over the past or fearing the future. This mental habit creates a split between our current reality and our mental projections. To end suffering, we must learn to accept the present moment as if we had chosen it ourselves. Tolle argues that the mind can never find a permanent solution to pain because the mind itself is the problem. Only by bringing the light of consciousness into the body can we transform pain into peace. He introduces the concept of being fully present as a way to dissolve the ego's shadow. By staying alert and attentive to the now, we stop feeding the cycle of negativity. True freedom is found when we stop identifying with our suffering. Moving deep into the now requires us to surrender our obsession with time. Tolle makes a distinction between clock time, which is useful for practical tasks, and psychological time, which is a destructive mental burden. Clock time allows us to plan for a meeting, but psychological time makes us worry about that meeting all day. The present moment is the only thing that truly exists. The past is just a memory, and the future is just a projection. Most of us spend our lives waiting for the next moment, effectively missing our actual lives. To access the power of the now, we must learn to withdraw our attention from mental abstractions. Tolle provides practical tips, like focusing on your breath or the physical sensations of your body. When we are deeply present, problems dissolve because problems require time to exist. In the now, there is only the situation, which can be dealt with or accepted. By narrowing our focus to the immediate present, we find a sense of lightness and ease. The now is the gateway to our true self. The mind is addicted to time because the ego cannot survive in the present moment. Tolle explores the various ways the mind tries to escape the now, such as complaining, resentment, and anxiety. These behaviors are strategies designed to strengthen the ego's sense of self by creating conflict with reality. Many people live in a state of waiting, hoping that some future event will finally make them happy. This creates a perpetual sense of lack and dissatisfaction. Tolle points out that even positive future goals can be a trap if they prevent us from honoring the present. He describes how the mind uses guilt to keep us stuck in the past and fear to keep us focused on the future. To break these patterns, we must become highly alert to our own mental habits. When we catch ourselves resisting the present, we should acknowledge it without judgment. Awareness is the key to breaking the ego's grip. By choosing to stay in the now, we deprive the ego of the energy it needs to survive. We move from a state of doing into a state of being. Presence is a state of being where you are fully awake and attentive to the current moment. Tolle describes it as a quiet but vibrant stillness that is deeper than the mind. It is not a state of trance or unconsciousness. Rather, it is a state of heightened perception. In the state of presence, you are free from the voice in the head that constantly judges and analyzes. You become the space in which events happen rather than the events themselves. Tolle uses the analogy of a master and a servant. When you are present, the mind becomes a helpful servant rather than a tyrannical master. This state allows you to respond to life with clarity and creativity rather than reacting through old patterns. Presence is also the foundation of true intelligence, as it connects you to a deeper level of knowing beyond words. The author emphasizes that presence is not something you achieve, but something you allow to emerge. By letting go of mental resistance, presence naturally shines through. It is the most powerful state a human being can inhabit. In this state, you are one with the source of life. Tolle introduces the practice of inner body awareness as a powerful tool for staying present. Most people are disconnected from their physical form, living entirely in their heads. By turning our attention inward, we can feel the liveliness or energy that animates our body. This inner energy field is a bridge between the physical world and the unmanifested realm of being. Tolle suggests that we should try to keep a part of our attention on the inner body at all times, even during daily activities. This prevents us from being swept away by the mind's drama. Inner body awareness also slows down the aging process and strengthens the immune system by raising the body's frequency. It acts as an anchor that keeps us rooted in the now. When we are connected to our inner body, we feel a sense of peace that is independent of external circumstances. This practice helps to dissolve the pain body and prevents new emotional pain from taking root. It is a simple yet profound way to experience the depth of our existence. By dwelling in the body, we find our way back to our true home. This chapter explores the unmanifested, which is the source of all life and the silent depth behind all forms. Tolle identifies several portals that allow us to glimpse this realm, including the now, the inner body, and the cessation of thought. Silence is another powerful portal. By paying attention to the silence between sounds, we connect with the stillness of our own being. Space is also a gateway. The vastness of the universe reflects the vastness within us. Even the state of deep sleep is a portal, though we are usually unconscious of it. Death, when approached with presence, can also be a profound gateway into the unmanifested. Tolle explains that these portals are always available to us, but we are often too distracted by mental form to notice them. By becoming aware of the nothingness that surrounds objects, we realize the interconnectedness of all things. These gateways help us transcend the limitations of the ego and the physical world. They remind us that our true nature is eternal and indestructible. Entering the unmanifested brings a sense of profound liberation. Relationships are often the source of our greatest joy and our deepest pain. Tolle argues that most modern relationships are love-hate dynamics based on egoic needs and projections. We often look to our partners to complete us or make us happy, which is a form of addiction. When the partner fails to meet these impossible demands, the ego reacts with anger and blame. An enlightened relationship, however, is one where both partners practice presence and surrender. Instead of using the relationship to escape the self, we use it as a mirror for our own consciousness. Tolle suggests that we should accept our partners as they are, without trying to change them. This acceptance dissolves the conflict and allows for a deeper connection based on being rather than ego. He also discusses the concept of unconscious relationships and how they can be transformed through awareness. Presence allows us to communicate with honesty and compassion, free from the need to be right. Ultimately, a relationship is a spiritual practice that helps us grow in presence. Love is not a feeling, but a state of being that arises when the mind is still. Tolle makes a crucial distinction between happiness and peace. Happiness is often dependent on favorable external conditions, whereas peace is a state of being that exists regardless of what is happening. The mind is constantly categorizing events as good or bad, which leads to a life of emotional highs and lows. By surrendering to the present moment, we access a level of peace that is deeper than any temporary happiness. This peace comes from the realization that nothing in the external world can touch our true essence. Tolle explains that bad situations are often opportunities for spiritual growth if we accept them without resistance. The ego thrives on drama, but the conscious self finds stillness even in the midst of a storm. We are encouraged to let go of the labels we place on our experiences. When we stop demanding that the world fit our mental concepts, we find that life is inherently meaningful. This doesn't mean we become passive. We still take action, but the action comes from a place of peace rather than desperation. Peace is our natural state when we are free from the mind's grasp. The book concludes with a deep dive into the concept of surrender. For Tolle, surrender is not about weakness or giving up. It is the act of yielding to the flow of life rather than fighting it. It is an internal acceptance of what is, without any mental judgment or resistance. When we surrender, the energy we were using to fight reality becomes available for creative action. Surrender is the most powerful way to dissolve the ego and the pain body. It allows the intelligence of the universe to flow through us, leading to outcomes that the mind could never have planned. Tolle explains that surrender is especially important during times of crisis or physical suffering. By accepting the isness of the moment, we transcend the suffering and find a sense of grace. Surrender is the ultimate key to enlightenment and inner peace. It is the final step in moving from the mind to the heart. The author reminds us that the power of now is always accessible, provided we are willing to let go of our mental defenses. Through surrender, we find our true power and our connection to the divine.